The following is a presentation of iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Good evening, everyone, from YouTube, Facebook Live, and iRacing Live. I'm Austin Coop alongside Cisco Scarmuza. We want to welcome you to LSRTV's coverage of the Watkins Glen 55 here at Watkins Glen International Raceway here as we get the campaign for the 17th race of the BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series. Qualifying is underway, and they're getting about 5 more minutes worth of qualifying. Pretty diverse field we have today. 17 rounds out of 20 for the original season, and then we'll go playoffs. It's getting a little bit more spread out for those guys on the bubble. Seems there's only one driver that's going to make it, but we're here at Watkins Glen here, Cisco, and this is the only road course on the entire season. And currently, in first place on the qualifying grid is Jamie Walker. You'd think, after all this time, after the first 16 races, we've seen Jamie Walker and Justin Michael do so much good work on those tracks that you'd think maybe somebody else would come up and surprise us here, but funny story is we haven't.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case, Austin. I think for some of these guys, they hoped it would be they didn't want even a road course on this schedule here. It's not a usual stop for these Camping World trucks that we're seeing out here tonight, but regardless, they're out here in New York, and they have 55 laps to do. No full course cautions tonight, so it's going to go flag to flag, green to checkered for these guys, and they just got to make sure they don't fall off the pavement.
Yeah, there's a pretty diverse field here. We have a lot of drivers very close in time. Michael and Walker, they're actually just about a tenth or two apart from each other. We're used to doing so many ovals that sounds like a big deal, but when you're running 1 minute 11 second lap times, that's actually not that bad. That's actually pretty close. But then you have a 5/10 gap to second place Aaron Bennett currently, and then it just starts to drop down, and we have a spread of about 10 seconds between the first driver right now and the last driver to make a qualifying time. We also want to mention that there's going to be at least 1 or 2 numbers that are not going to be the same at this race. I do believe Tommy Ryan will be actually driving the number 2 car today. But unless I put the wrong sticker on him, because that he won't actually be allowed to qualify, which is a pretty big deal at a track like this. Qualifying is extremely important, and so whoever gets up towards the front quickly and whoever qualifies the best is going to have a good shot, because there's no cautions. They said that here before we started the broadcast, and you said it just a little bit, Cisco, that's going to be a big deal. If you make a mistake as an oval driver and you're on these road courses, if you slip up just a little bit, you won't have anything to really slide back on except for anyone else's misfortune.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case, Austin. And for these guys, really it's going to come down to they have to make sure that you said it kind of matters where you qualify, but at the same time, since we're going flag to flag here, it's almost a case of as long as you don't fall off the track, there's a good chance you're going to be in the top 10. These trucks not used to going and making these right turns, these weird, horrible things that we've never seen before. But we take a look at your point standings right now. Jamie Walker continues to sit on top. Justin Michael closing that gap a little bit, brought that gap down to 12 points. Greg Mull in third, 30 points back. And then when you look down to the cut line, Steve Herring, about the same gap he had last week, more or less, 13 points back behind Dwayne Dunn. Scott Formosa and Michael Priester in with a shout there for that running. But this is a wild card race here, and we could have the potential to see a brand new winner in victory lane tonight.
Yeah, permitting that anybody outside of this top few group, you have Jason Jacoby, Greg Mall, who has won, but hasn't won since the beginning of the season. Mark McCurry is still in there in the top 10. James Nunn is there as well. These guys can really start to round. We haven't really seen them in race conditions. They've been out there on the track by themselves, so we really haven't been able to get any bit of a taste on that, nor have we seen any tire fall off. Just as long, but when it takes you that long to get around the racetrack, hardly any of these guys are going to get a complete fuel run, which also brings the next question that these trucks will at least have to come down pit road once. And when they do, it's up for anybody's game because these trucks hardly come here. Haven't really done the math to do it. I'd say they could probably make it about half Cisco, maybe 20, 24, 5 laps. They're going to have to make it a little bit longer than that to not make it 2 stops. But that is going to have to be on these guys' mind too. Of course, we talk every week that coming down pit road is just as important, but they're also going to have to make sure they come in and not. It's going to be a minute before they come back in and get that stop. So those are going to be pretty interesting topics as well.
Yeah, absolutely the case here, Austin. I am joking a little bit. The right turns, they aren't horrible things. I just got to see 160 turns at Nordschleife today, so I am familiar with what a right turn is, but for some of these guys, not really huge fans, and this is probably going to be, this is the more similar road course to the ovals. It's a little bit more straightaway here, but as we get ready to head to the grid here, a little bit easier of a road course than they could have taken than what we would have seen at Sonoma.
And as qualifying is over, we do want to give a big shout out to B&C Lawn and Landscaping Service based in Frankfort, Delaware. Check out B&C for all your landscaping needs, including turf care, mulching, snow removal, and more. Professional license and insured. Contact Aaron Bennett at BC_lawn_and_landscaping at yahoo.com. Jamie Walker, he gets the pole with a 1:11.376. That'll be about 2/10 in front of Justin Michael, who is sitting on his outside, or I would say his left here, since we are now on the road course. Behind them in the second row is going to be Aaron Bennett and Jason Jacoby, followed by Greg Mall, Bobby Terrell in 6th place, Scott Simley, he's in 7th with Mark McCray at his left side in 8th, and then you have Robert Gellenwater and James Nunn in that next row.
Yeah, and then in 11th is going to be Chris Gabo in that number 5 truck. Right behind him, Michael Waters is... Oh, it's going to be in the 55 Waters there. Dwayne Dunn going to be 13th in the 39. 14th going to go to Nathan Davis. 15th will go to Justin Kleber. 16th to Keith Butt. 17th to Chris Hurlow. 18th to Cody Gibson. 19th to Robert Barber. And 20th is going to go to Bobby Wetzel.
Louis Robinette starts in that 21st position with Jeff Ryan. He's the last driver to take a time, and he's going to start 22nd. Tommy Ryan was not allowed to qualify. He'll start 23rd. Tristan Beats starts 24th. Steve Herring, 25th. Randy Yoakum, 26th. Michael Waite, 27th. Shane Hawther, 28th. Michael Priester, 29th. And Trevor Harmon. They'll finish out your 30-car starting grid here tonight. Still a pretty big field. We've seen some pretty big fields here lately, and this is no exclusion. This is a good turnout for these trucks. This is a very difficult thing for these trucks to do. They're not typically used to using both sides of the truck in equal manners. You set these trucks up so that they only turn one way. So when you have them turn both ways, this is going to be really fun, Cisco, to see these trucks battle, and they can beat and bang like they do in the short tracks and on the shorter ovals, and just the same as they do here, and you're going to see it tonight.
Yeah, you absolutely are, and we're going to take a look at your track facts here tonight. Very important here, so we'll take a run through of them right now. You see them on screen here. 2.45 miles tonight these guys are going to be going per lap. 8 turns. We're going to be referring to the final 2 turns as 10 and 11 as it is on the proper course, but 1, obviously you have that right-hander there. You're going to watch out for the gravel. 2, you go up, then you got 3 and 4 in the S's. Then you got the inner loop there. You have to be careful of that. 5 is going to be the carousel. 6, 7, 8, and 9 we're not going to be using tonight because that's on the boot. 10 is going to be your penultimate corner, and then your final right-hander is going to be that corner number 11. That'll bring you right back up to that start-finish line.
It's real good that we get Cisco to give you the deets on how this course is going, since he's the VLN guy here. Definitely, I think my favorite part of the course through the S is the most difficult, I think, for these trucks to get through because of how plowing they go. They just plow through these corners. I've driven them a time or two, and through the S's is one of the most difficult places to go through. As soon as you get off your rhythm, going by side is going to be the most interesting thing if they stay there on the restart. I'm looking forward to this first lap because it's either going to be a haymaker or these guys are really going to spread out quickly.
Yeah, they got to be really careful that they don't wad up the trucks going through the S's, because that's a very easy thing to do here. So these guys have to be careful. Truck's very big, so they have to make sure they give themselves plenty of room. But as they head through 10 right now, going to make that final pace corner here under the speed of the pace car, the Rough 12 RT pace car is getting ready to head off to pit road.
It'll be the first and last time we see that pace car here for this series, and they're about to go green. There goes the pace car, and Jamie Walker is going to be displayed the green flag, and here we go at Watkins Glen for 55 laps. The number 17 truck is going to show them the way down into the first corner right here. 17 followed by the 87, and those two get pretty side. Oh, look at the 17 get a little bit loose, and look at them behind them. Lots of trucks already getting thinned out. A lot of 3-wide action there in the back and starting to settle itself out, but we have a lot of 2-wide action now settling down as they go through the S's.
Yeah, through the S's right now, everyone okay. A little bit of side-by-side action. You see on your screen the 31 of, that's McCreary, and then the 68 of Scott Simley. They're going at it right now as they head for the first time to the inner loop here. Simley with a big late break right there. It'll get way in front of him. The 31.
75. They're trying to run around right here. They have to get something together. It's the only one none right there. Look at that number 1 truck to do some damage. He's already got past Aaron Bennett here.
Yeah, sorry about those technical issues. We got that sorted out. We're back live here, and Austin fill us in because I was trying to bring the audio back there.
Yeah, the 4 of Gillenwater got together with James Nunn here in the first lap, and then Jacoby, he got past Aaron Bennett there just quickly, and Aaron Bennett's actually kind of just softened down, just kind of let himself fit inside the track, and all these trucks are now getting single file. I don't think we see any double file action. That was very treacherous on that first lap, and ever since we've seen these guys get out of the S's, it looks like I'm looking at Tristan Beats trying to get around not Michael Witt. That's going to be Louis Robinette. Those two drivers are trying to get after it right there, and it appears to be Robert Barber, and they settled it out. But very, very close for Robert, or Barber, I should say, getting off those S's.
Yeah, we're taking a look at the 88 right now. Looks good, pretty good for the moment. And, yeah, single file for the most part through most of your field here. So these guys not really feeling like they want to battle too much here on the road course. You see a little bit of a battle. Shane Hawthorne took a look to the inside of the 21, wasn't able to do anything there. So everyone's spread out, but we do have a little bit of a battle up in front of these guys. The 93 going side by side with the 33.
Yeah, Keith Butt actually got a humongous run off in turn 11, and they're still about side by side, but he does clear him right into turn number 1. Keith Butt's on a mission, up 3 positions since the beginning of this one, and had to deal with some of those issues earlier on with some of the drivers that got in the accident through the inner loop. Had to really woe that truck down in order to not run into them, so he's up a few spots already.
Yeah, doing a great job, and now it looks like the 33 caught a little bit of the curb there, Austin. They're able to hold on to it here. These guys have to make sure they can hit that curb, but they can't hit it too hard or else they're going to be in a big whale of trouble there, so they have to be careful of that. But for the most part, everyone's still single file. We saw that we didn't get a chance to see that accident in the inner loop, but it's basically spread everyone out as a little bit of a wiggle out there. But for everyone's single file. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of battling going on because no one's battling.
Yeah, and you see that the big passing opportunities are on those long straightaways. If you could really get a humongous exit off of these corners, off turn 11, out of the S's, and even out of the inner loop into the carousel, you can really get yourself a good one. Or you can dive the corner. Look at the 39 right here. Dwayne Dunn.
Oh, it didn't work.
Spun because of it.
That didn't work at all. Yeah, that didn't work at all.
He tried it, and it did not work. He's going to get hit, actually. Gets hit after the fact. Looked like that was maybe the 7 or the 19 right there of Bobby Wetzel. Looks like all the trucks are going to really come out of it, not in a bad way, but that truck was trying everything he could, but didn't quite work out there for those guys. But definitely going to be a huge deficit for these guys who are getting spun out this early. We expected it, Cisco, but not so much. I thought, these drivers are trying to be as aggressive as they can, and that bit them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think Dwayne Dunn there just went way too deep in the corners. We have another truck off in the inner loop. That's Christopher Hurlow. We saw him hit the wall in the S's. He was able to get it back going straight. Not a whole lot of damage on that truck for the most part, but he lost it going through the inner loop. He's got it all sorted out now, but Hurlow on a little bit of a gravel adventure there, and then right behind him, everyone's kind of bottled up back there, but a little bit of a battle, that 39, trying to get everything he can back, driving very aggressively right now.
Oh, yeah, he's not happy. The Ninja at 99. Look at Tristan Beats. Really out of shape at turn number 11, trying to get to the back bumper of the 48, it looked like, at that point. So battles everywhere outside the top 10 is actually pretty exciting at this point. You're going to see, it looks like the 29 Mater Machine's trying to make a move on the inside as well. Not going to do so. He's trying to at least protect his position from the 2, but he's going to go around the outside, and they're going to go side by side right here through the S's. This is really what you don't want. So you're probably going to see Tommy Ryan perhaps. No, he's not going to back down, but still keeping the inside fender there. It's going to be clear. Look, the 29's in the wall. He's going to clear him, but that's going to be some damage on that 29.
Yeah, just a scratch there, none too bad. Hurlow did the same thing going through the S's a little while ago as we look to see these guys head in towards the inner loop here, and for the most part, going to go side by side through it there. Not a great idea, but the 14 of Hurlow is going to give up that position there, so he's going to fall out there to the 29 of Trevor Harmon. Harmon, though, on the outside of the carousel here, not on the apex where he needs to be. He's going to get a corner exit, but wasn't able to get the power down, and he's going to lose that position back to Hurlow. Meanwhile, behind him side by side, and that, I believe, is the 11 of Hawthorne, the 75 of Nunn. Nunn now on the right side of the track here. He's going to have the apex, the preferred line into 11. And here comes Gillenwater.
Gillenwater. Yeah, look at him come right down the bottom. He started in he started in 9th place and is all the way back in 24th because everything that happened to him happened on the very first lap in the very first few corners. So that truck is fast, and he's going to try and get around these guys as quickly as possible. I expect him to get a lot of these positions back, but it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for this number 4 truck.
Yeah, and we're going to ride on board with him as we head through the S's right now. Gillenwater trying to track down. That's Nunn in front of him there, and you see a great battle going on with the 29 of Harmon. And then meanwhile, in front of those guys, Hurlow going to go side by side, and yeah, the 30 is going to let him have it here. Let him go right there. He's going to fall into the clutches of James Nunn if he's not careful.
Yeah, it appears that 30 is not really pushing it that early, and that might be a good thing in trying to keep those tires, or he's down on power. Doesn't look like he's got much straightaway speed, and these guys definitely are catching him here in the corners. Perhaps he's taking a little bit easy, though, through these corners. Or perhaps he's just not comfortable. We've seen that. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'd say there's something wrong with that 30 truck because he's going to lose 2 spots here coming to turn 11. That's just going to be 3 if Gillenwater has anything to say about it. But definitely that truck's dropping like a rock. And at a place like this, unless you're saving fuel, that's really going to hurt and burden you.
Yeah, it is, and the 30 now going to drop in behind the 29 here. So looking to see where he can go. The 30, though, going to lose out. He just doesn't look like he has a lot of corner exit speed. Maybe just not comfortable enough in that truck, but either way, he's losing a ton of time on corner exit and entry. He seems to have the line down. He just has to apply some speed to it, and Gillenwater now going to look maybe to the inside, see if he can do anything with him here. Not going to happen. So for the moment, these guys going to go single file, but Gillenwater wants more. He's looking to the inside. Do we see? No, he's going to file in behind the 30 there. So everyone playing it nice and easy right now as they head through the inner loop again.
Yeah, he almost cut the course right there, too, starting to go through the carousel. But something I want to start to note is the lead is starting to diminish. We haven't hardly talked about the two lead drivers ever since the drop of the green flag just because they got so spread out. But in that last lap, Jamie Walker actually lost about 2/10 and a half to Justin Michael, and then there's also a battle going on behind them that actually got a little bit bigger since the last time, but it is starting to get a little closer. Greg Mall and Aaron Bennett, that battle is starting to shape up pretty well. Is starting to shape up as well. And then you can't forget about Bobby Terrell trying to catch him behind him. He started in 6th, still in 6th, trying to catch these guys in front of him. But that lead, it's diminishing pretty quickly.
It's diminishing fairly quickly here as they head through the Cara, as that battle we were watching between Bennett and Mull kind of gets spread out here. But Walker's given up a lot of time here. You can watch that gap up on the top of your ticker there, and it's because he's catching lap traffic. And that was Jeff Ryan in the 88, and Justin Michael says, thank you very much. New leader is going to be that 87. The ultimate opportunist, Justin Michael, just stole that position away down to the inside into turn 1.
Oh, that was the worst time for that to happen, and Jeff Ryan immediately pulls over and yields that position, but the damage is already done. Jamie Walker at least had a chance to, have at least a couple more laps led over Justin Michael, and we've seen these two battle for so many weeks in a row. It's unbelievable, but I don't think Jamie Walker is done either. I don't, not without a doubt. He's definitely going to try, because I think if he lets him go, he's going to be going for quite a while too. So definitely look for that 17 to try and make a rebound here. Maybe look at the 87's line and see what maybe he can do instead. But Justin Michael, he led that last lap, and he's going to probably could lead a couple more.
Yeah, he's going to try to leave a couple more either way, but they come out of the carousel here down towards 10. And Walker seems to be trying to close the gap, but I just don't think he can right now. That truck doesn't look as fast as Michael. So I think Michael might have been able to save a little bit of tires there, Coop, and he's been able to just kind of use that opportunity with the lap car of Jeff Ryan, and Walker just got held up. Not really a whole lot that he could do there.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Going to turn 10, we're going to see a few more cars. Looks like the 33, 50, or 68 and the 5. They're starting to get a little together. Look at the 5, Chris Gabu. He's actually off the track right there, and definitely not a place you want to be. Get your tires in that sticky grass and upsetting your car here a little bit. But those guys behind him, they're going to start catching him here if he continues to have those off tracks. Look at the truck behind him. That's Scott Simley, peeking and nosing maybe a little bit. 68 truck's looking to have a little bit of fun. Down 2 positions from where he started, but trying to get a few of those back here, and that gap's starting to cut down quite a bit. I know they're only 22 seconds behind, but these guys are fighting like they're trying to get every position. They know what points matters here, even though some of these guys are in the top group, but trying everything they can get to get every position here.
And I think the reason we're seeing this, Coop, is because these guys know once this field gets spread out, that's basically going to be the end of the passing, because we're not going to have any cautions. Nothing really is going to be able to bunch these guys back up. It'll turn into a strategy race from there. So for right now, these guys have to get every position they can while they're in a position to race for position. And once that kind of gets spread out, these guys not going to be able to do a whole lot. It's going to get very spread out. I mean, Justin Michael has a 1.5 seconds on our leader already.
Oh, yeah, it's a humongous gap, and speaking of that gap, the gap behind them for the battle for third is starting to dwindle, and very quickly. Look at Greg Mull in that 12 truck. He's very close to Jason Jacoby, and he's up by 1 spot, trying to get 2 spots here. Both those trucks are very tough competitors, and I think that 12 is going to be able to snuff this one out here with the one of Jason Jacoby, but knowing the one truck, he's not going to let him by easily here, and going to have to get a really good passing opportunity, that being the number 12 truck here, going through the inner loop and into the carousel here in the next couple laps. Looks like we got a spinner there through the inner loop as well. Yeah, looks like it's going to be Jeff Ryan again who's having those issues, but back up to 4th and 3rd. That truck, those 2 trucks definitely get a lot closer, and we'll see battle with them, I'm sure, in a few laps.
Yeah, I think Jeff Ryan's, it's safe to say he's had enough of Watkins Glen already, but this battle continues between Mull and Jacoby here, and we'll just have to see how the cards fall here, because as it stands right now, the trucks look about even. Mull was able to close in a little bit, like you mentioned, Coop, but that gap is kind of pacified for the moment. Everyone, for the most part, keeping an equal gap. I think Mull might be better in the first part of the track, but I think Jacoby might be better in the second half.
Yeah, and look at the 14 truck off to the side. That's Christopher Herlow, who has just spun off of turn 1 and just got it back up. So he's now 1 complete lap down, which is you can't get those back here. So he's got to try for everything. Hope the other drivers have issues, but like you said, yeah, that's kind of sedated that battle here for 3rd place. And then you got to think about the driver behind them. That's going to be the number 3 of Aaron Bennett. He definitely fell off quite a bit, but I think he's going to be coming back just a little bit here. He's been having a little bit of a second thrive here. Really been the only driver to really do that. Look at the biggest mover, though. Keith Butt, he's surrounded by a bunch of cars. Look at this in the inner loop right here, too wide. Oh, wow, look at the 33 and the 55 side by side going to the entrance. 33 gets the advantage here going to the carousel. 55 trying to do everything he can. He's up 2 spots, but Keith Butt, he's up a lot of positions since the beginning of this. 8 complete spots. Not the biggest mover, but definitely in the top 15. He's done a lot of work.
He has, and I mean, that comes down at the end of the 8, Coop. We talked about it at the top of the show. You don't really have to worry about trying to press your luck here. As long as you're consistent, and as long as you aren't making mistakes, you're going to be very high up in the field. Bud was able just to capitalize on some of these drivers making a couple mistakes, get a few positions on his own merit of driving, and everything else just falls into place.
Yeah, you are watching him getting hut down by that number 55 truck. He did lose a position that last lap, and the 55 truck does look to be very hungry and on the prowl. I'd say that 33 trucks, he's had a lot of battles. He's been in a lot of run-ins, but he's still been able to get on the sunny side of things every time it's been happening. Of course, don't want to throw the LSRTV curse on him here, but of course, he's still in search to get that position back from Scott Simley as well, and it's definitely not done between the 68. The 68's not clocking out, and it's actually getting really close between those two. It was about 2/10 when they came across the start-finish line, and then they were almost bumper to bumper right there through the inner loop. So those two drivers are getting pretty close as well.
And also you have to keep in mind, Coop, here, this is still the baseline road course setup for the trucks. I'm not sure if it's set up for Watkins Glen, but either way, maybe not the setup to all these guys' liking, because with these road courses, there's a lot more you can do to make a driver comfortable versus what you might be able to do with the oval setup. So these guys, a big array of driving preferences on the road course here. You're not going to have that one fast setup like you would maybe on an oval, that if everyone got in it, they might be able to be decently fast. In this case, on the road course, it's really more of driver preference. So it's really going to come down to how these drivers adapt to that setup and how much they enjoy driving it.
Yeah, I tell you, one driver who is definitely enjoying it. Well, 2 drivers. It's Michael and Jamie Walker. Those 2 drivers being the first 2, and those two have a lead of about 10 seconds over Jason Jacoby, and it's a monstrous lead. But I look back to Keith Butt. He's gonna make the move on the inside. It's just a peek. He's not actually gonna go for it, but he's definitely. Oh, look at the 68! He psyched him out. He made him go through the grass, and that's gonna be a penalty actually for that 68. Yeah. He's gonna have to slow down quite a bit. He faked him. He went on the inside and forced him to look in his mirror, and well, when you do that, sometimes you can get away with it. And I think the 33 just got away with it, but that could have been a lot worse for Scott Simley. He could have definitely spun it out, but he did lose a lot of positions. He's all the way back to 12th now.
Yeah, and we're gonna go on board with the 33 here to see that move. And Coop, for the most part, I mean, like I said, Butt knew that as long as he doesn't make a mistake, he just has to rely on everyone else to do the same, and Simley just got psyched out there. I mean, Butt got a little bit of the grass and a little bit of the curb we're watching here, but nowhere near as much as Simley did, and job done, and Keith Butt gets another position.
Not only that, but he also got a huge breakaway from the guys behind him, and that's sometimes the biggest thing you need. You don't need someone breathing down your neck the entire race. Even if you're the leader, that's always nice too. That you can always have a clear windshield and a clear mirror, which you sometimes have. To see those guys fighting behind him and that they're nowhere close, it's pretty nice as well. And so for that 33 to come out of there like a rose was kind of nice. So definitely gonna look for that 33 to do. To just keep on running, get consistent good times here the next few laps.
Yeah, and the 33 at this point, like you said, he just needs some consistent laps here. That's what everyone needs here. And the 55, luckily he only lost 1 position in that scuffle here. He's back in 8th right now. He can go catch that 33 if he can, but Waters needs to get some solid laps here, get his head back in the game before he can really be in a position to do that. And right now, a little bit of a goof on the apex of 11 there. So for Waters here, he just has to make sure that practice that he had, plenty of practice time for these guys to figure out the course and how they wanted to drive it. He just needs to channel some of that.
Yeah, he's actually just a tiny bit faster than Keith Butt there, so I bet you if he's able to get it up there, it's going to take a little bit. It's going to take a lot of consistency. It's going to take a lot of time and patience to get up to that 33 truck, but that position would definitely be well worth it if he could get away from the guys behind him, which he's definitely a lot faster than them. He's about 2/10 faster than per lap. So he's just, once he gets away from these guys behind him, if he can at least set sights, like I said, once you get away from the guys behind you, once you know they're not breathing down your neck, you can get away from them. You can start really making some advances of your own without having anyone really breathe down your neck.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're starting to see the lead battle close up. It was about a second and a half, a second and 0.8 almost, and now that's closed into about 0.8. Jamie Walker just turned on the jets here, and he's closing back in on Jamie Walker again, or Justin Michael again.
Yeah, he got 2/10 on him that last lap, and 2/10 is not the biggest thing in a road course, but it's still chopping off a little by little, and I think you can see the difference in the trucks as they go through the corners. It looks like the 87 is definitely more aggressive as he gets to the apexes as compared to Jamie Walker. He's a little bit more fluid. Also, you got to know there's a little bit of left front damage on the 87. I don't know where that came from. I'm going to have to figure that out, but a little bit of left front damage on that truck as well, so that could be a little bit of a culprit too.
Yeah, that could have been. I mean, it was a little bit of a sharp drop-off here. It's not too bad, though, for Michael. I mean, it's kind of hard to see from that angle. We'll look at the right front there. Everything, for the most part, looks okay on that truck. I'm trying to see what you're seeing. I don't see anything too dramatic, though. There's a little bit of a puff of smoke in front there. And the 29 and the 11 are going to go side by side in front of the leaders. That lap traffic is going to affect your battle for the lead here. Here we go. The 87's got to do some dodging the lap traffic. Oh! Jamie Walker over the white line.
Yeah, and I did look at what happened. He just got into a lap car, and the 29 is going to yield that spot over. Actually almost getting the wall right there. But yeah, that could have been a lot worse, but they still have a few more trucks to get over. And these trucks are running drastically slower times than these guys, so definitely lead's going to be diminished right here. And we talked about how it was getting lower, but definitely not that what they were expecting. It's now happening. Both drivers is loss and gain now for the 17. Jamie Walker is definitely going to be able to get a lot of time that he lost earlier, so you can almost could say hand for hand here for what happened earlier. Of course, Jamie Walker didn't get the lead this time, but there's still a lot more lap traffic to come.
Yeah, there's one more truck in front of these guys for the moment here before a brief respite for the next group. But no, actually, they're going to head in right now. So first of the scheduled pit stops here. They made 17 laps, Coop. By my math, that means they're going to have to make one more stop before the end of this.
Oh, most definitely. And whether these drivers take 2, 4 tires, that could be a bit of a strategy too. I know it's a road course and you run both sides not equally. If you're going to take 2 or none or whatever you have or whatever you want to do, you got to hopefully make sure that that's the right call. We're looking at down pit road, left side's up first. Of course, that's what happens at a track like this. Both sides, looks like they're going to take both sides. Yeah, looks like both trucks going to take 4 tires, and no one else is coming down pit road. Actually looks like Mark McCrary is another truck. Christopher Herlow, other trucks are also coming in, and that also hands off the lead, I think, to Jason Jacoby.
Yeah, Jacoby right now we're seeing going through the inner loop right now. Jacoby has to make sure he hits pit road fairly soon. He doesn't want to get caught up with those very worn tires already. Wants to make sure he makes his stop on pit road. Unless he's trying something strategy-wise, probably makes sense. You want to hit pit road sooner than later.
And with this course being so long, you wonder if someone didn't take tires. You'd be drastically slower. But these trucks only dropped off 2 seconds from that, and so if you think about that 2 seconds per lap, how much you're losing, you don't get a full lap. So if he could maybe stretch it, to the halfway mark, and it does look like he's staying out still, this could be a huge strategy for him. He's going to have to go a lot slower, save a lot more fuel. He's going to have to go a few more laps. He's got to make it at least to 27 and a half. I know that sounds a little odd, but since we're talking about the big course, he's got to make it to 27 and a half laps to at least make it to the finish, unless he saves. And he's got to make it at least to 25, I'd say, and then save. That's a long time, Cisco, but he's still staying out there.
I think the question is, why are these guys coming down pit road? Is it for fuel or is it for tires? Because it could be either way. We just don't know with the fuel strategy here. And for Jacoby, he's still your leader here. And you look back, you got comments want to know who's your provisional leader. That's the 87 right now. He came off of pit road and has basically just been putting pedal to the metal here and trying to pull away from Jamie Walker. Yeah,
with that pit cycle, he got at least 2 seconds in the full rotation ahead of Jamie Walker, and that's actually the exact distance almost between those two drivers. It looks like about 2.5. Let's just call it 2 here. But Justin Michael has made a sizable lead from from the pits, from coming in and then getting out. I think was the biggest, because you saw them come in pit road together. They were fairly equal, came into their pit boxes fairly equal. It was getting off and into the S's, I think, that really caught up Jamie Walker there. So a huge deficit that he's going to have to take himself out of if he wants to win the race. Of course, if strategy doesn't play against them, as Jacoby, looks like Maul's actually down now, but if Jacoby doesn't come down.
Yeah, and Jacoby not going to be able to stretch it here, and I basically think he threw that away at this point, Austin. I mean, he waited so long to come down pit road. By the time he gets new tires, yeah, he's going to be faster on those new tires, but he gave up so much track position to do that. I don't think it was a good call. Yeah, you see him coming off pit road right now, and he's already way back in the back. He was 3rd before they came in, Coop, and he's now 4th, but more importantly, way back behind the leaders.
Yeah, and I was in the clutches of Aaron Bennett as well, and he was nowhere even close to that. I mean, he wasn't catching the leaders, but he was definitely kind of in his own area. He was 11 seconds off when he last was behind the leaders, and definitely going to be a lot longer between that. I think it's going to be about 24 seconds now, so about a 13-second fall off was how much that was. I wouldn't say per lap, but definitely the entrance, the exit, and the actual time on track. It's a big deal now that you're seeing it. Whoa! Look at the number 1 truck come off the carousel, almost into Jeff Ryan right there. Slower truck on the outside. Was not exactly aware of him being there, but definitely heads up driving by the number 1 truck.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're getting up close to they just started lap 21. The one gonna shoot to the inside of the 29 there. But what we're gonna do here, we're gonna do something a little bit different, a little bit of LSRTV fan immersion here. We're going to go on board for a lap, and why don't we do it with the guy watching this battle right behind, assuming they don't all wad it up there through one right now. Trevor Harmon going to get spit to the outside, but we're going to ride on board with the 3 of Aaron Bennett here for a lap here and take in this Watkins Glen International Speedway.
And there's one lap with Aaron Bennett coming out of turn 1 into turn 2 and then through the S's. You saw how big of a gap Jacoby got with that lap car through the entire course. He got about a second and a half. Of course, to show he had those tires too to play out for him as well, but that was monstrous, and we got to let everyone see how big it can be when you have somebody side by side with you.
Yeah, absolutely. A great job done by Jacoby there to open up that gap. Remember, he's got a little bit fresher tires. He has the capacity to do that, but the problem is he surrendered so much time that I'm not sure if it's worth it or not, but I guess we'll just have to see at the end of the race here whether it worked out for that one car. I can say, though, so far he's still down 1 position to Greg Maul in that 12 truck. Greg Maul coming through 11 right now. Jacoby just exited 10, so a decent-sized gap from Greg Maul to Jason Jacoby.
Yeah, and he actually, I think, picked up some time, too. Not to Justin Michael to Walker, but just by, to Jamie Walker. Yes, to Jamie Walker. I think he picked up a little bit of time on those leaders before they actually got on track through the pit cycles. If that 12 truck was a little closer to them, I would believe he'd be in a good position to really to do something, but 19 seconds behind is quite the deficit. And so really what you got to do when you're him, and the closest car to you is a lap truck, you really just have to kind of sit, really just hit your marks. It can actually be a little bit numbing just to keep going through these turns. You have about 20 laps to, or about 20, gosh darn it, 30 laps to go here in the next time by, and he's going to do that almost all by himself with no competition. It sounds nice, but you're going to have to do it flawlessly. That way no one comes and gets you from behind.
Yeah, and Jamie Walker's still in the same picture as your leader right now, Coop. So by no means is he out by himself where no one can see him or the walls are hiding him or anything like that. There's still visual contact between Walker and Michael, and that kind of is a good way to think that, yeah, he still has a shot to win this thing. As long as you're in visual range, as long as you can see that truck in front of you, you have a reference point to know, well, what you're going to do here.
Yeah, and he's also catching him just little by little, about 3/10 that last lap, and just watching him go through the corners, like I said earlier, he just is seeming to be more fluid, easier on his truck. And also, looks like Justin Michaels not catching the lot traffic the way he wants to. Either just went around Dwayne Dunn. He is now 1 lap down, that 39 truck. And the lap down trucks, they don't have to yield the position, but they do get that white, blue, and yellow striped flag that we see at the road courses, which means you do have to give up those spots, unlike the oval courses. So when they're displayed that flag, they actually need to get out of the way in the most convenient way as possible, or at least take the least preferred line. So when we see these trucks get in the way, they are showing that there is somebody behind them, because when you're by yourself for so long, you can almost forget to look in your mirror and see that there's trucks behind you.
2.65 right now is the gap, more or less, between Walker and Michael. So this is really going to be the gap to watch. You can see it close in a little bit up through the S's, and I think this supports my theory that I think Walker's a little bit better through the first half of the course. I think Michael's about even with Walker for the second half of it, but Walker seems to be very good through the S's and very good through the carousel.
Looks like we got a battle here for 11th place between Tommy Ryan and Tommy Ryan and Scott Simley here, starting to heat up here, coming into turn number 10 right here and going into 11. Tommy Ryan put on the inside right there and down the chute there. Wasn't able to get it, but these two trucks are doing everything they can to get around it. Tommy Ryan looks like he's going to have the run. He's going to go to the inside line. Here he comes. In the turn one's going to be really the best place to be. He's going to get on that white rumble strip right here, and he's going to get him right here out of the corner. So +1 for Tommy Ryan.
Yeah, great job by Tommy Ryan to do that. Meanwhile, you look at the battle up at the top of your screen. It is down to 2:50, so it's not a ton of time that Walker's making up here. So we'll leave them race for a little bit, look around to see if we can find any battles. And we do find one in Randy Yoakum and Christopher Earlo there.
Yeah, those guys are getting really close, and you'd think, hey, these guys are a lap down, but hey, position to position, and I think these guys are having a heck of a lot of fun out there going to turn 11. Oh, it looks like Christopher Herlo gets in the grass just a little bit, and that's going to slow him down. Not going to get the preferred line coming into 11 unless he shoots the gap, and there's none to be said right here, but those two doing a really good battle. Come off the corner, he's going to have the better exit. Oh, Christopher Herlo! Hold on to it, buddy, and he somehow does. He's going to live this fight another day, but almost completely undid it, and he's going to dive bomb him into one. Wow. Didn't even have a bumper, to say the least. And he absolutely just took advantage of that situation. Give it to Herlo right there. That was some fun action right there.
Not maybe the most Paragon move by the 14, but as we get close to the Mass Effect release date here, I'm getting into the swing of that a little bit, but the 14's still going to grab that position nonetheless, and meanwhile, that gap, Coop, is down by a second in the last 2 laps, so it is closing.
Yeah, the 87 is just not able to hold his ground as much. And in the opposite effect, you're going to see that Jamie Walker is also just being extremely consistent. Also, Justin Michaels is catching lap traffic where he doesn't need to be. He caught the 98 in probably the worst part possible. Caught him right there in the carousel. So when you have that happen, it's not very you lose so much speed there, and so definitely lost a lot of time there. I don't think that was anything to do with him as a driver in particular losing that much speed, but he's in a much closer range now, that being Jamie Walker.
Yeah, and going past the inner loop there. Those guys just passed halfway, so we'll do your midway race break here in a moment. But as they come around 10 and 11 right now, Michael's going to hit a little bit of lap traffic. But Coop, they're coming around to finish lap 27, start lap, or complete lap 28, I should say. So we're coming up past halfway.
Yeah, we're going to start counting down once we get this midway race break underway. And let's take a look at our break here, brought to you by iRacing, the world's premier online racing game with professionally organized racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, and more. Of course, the two guys we've been talking about a lot today, not the most like in weeks past, are Justin Michael and Jamie Walker. They've been swapping the lead a couple times, and it looks like Jamie Walker is going to let you lose a little bit. So those two 1-2 right now. Then you have Greg Mall, 21 seconds behind in third. Jason Jacoby, he's in fourth. Aaron Bennett is in fifth with a little bit of a comfy room. He's catching Jacoby just a little bit, but not a lot right now. So look at those top five, and we'll go to sixth place. Mark McCrary, 36 seconds. Bobby Terrell, he started in sixth, only down one position. You got Michael Waters, he's up quite a bit of positions, and you got Keith Butt, ninth, and then Nathan Davis, he's in 10th.
Yeah, Keith Butt looking to be the biggest mover tonight so far in the field, though Tommy Ryan also having a great run. Started 23rd. He runs 11th right now. 12th is going to go to Scott Simley. 13th to Justin Kleber. 14th to Chris Gabot. Tristan Beats is going to be 15th. James Nunn 16th. 17th going to go to Dwayne Dunn. 18th is Michael Waite. 19th to Shane Hawther. And Trevor Harmon rounds out your top 20.
Right there in 21st is Christopher Hurlow, who made that dive bomb move just about a lap or two ago. Randy Yoakum, he's in 22nd. Robert Barber, 23rd. Stephen Herring, 24th. Jeff Ryan, 25th. Bobby Wetzel, 26th. Lewis Robinette, 27th. Robert Gillenwater, he's in 28th. Cody Gibson, 29th. And Michael Priester is 29th. And as we finish up our midway race break, we definitely want to give a big shout out to B&Z Lawn and Landscaping for their sponsorship of the series, and Joel Real timing coverage of the United Sim Racing B&C Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series is brought to you by Joel Real Timing, the official software of LSRTV. You can get it today at joel-real-timing.com. Back up towards those front two, Justin Michael and Jamie Walker. Their lead is just about the same, if not a little closer. Jamie Walker, he's losing some and then gaining some. Perhaps it's because of these lap traffic trucks that are coming by, but it seems like every time he gets on the good end of it, he's making a lot more time.
Yeah, he is, and right now the 99 kind of hounding that truck for the moment, the Young Gun Motorsports driver, or the Young Guns driver rather. Don't know if he's part of that organization, but the 99 seem to be closing in on the 17. Nothing going to happen there. So Jamie Walker heading up the hill here through the S's, and they're heading towards the inner loop once again.
And as they do their battle, we're going to take a quick break here, do a little bit of LSRTV side by side so we can catch our breath, and so you can get a little bit of word from our sponsors and all the folks there at iRacing.com. So don't go to another live stream. Stay here, and we'll be back in just a little bit. Welcome back to Watkins Glen International. While we are here, 33 laps in, 55, almost to the 20 to go mark, is Justin Michael and Jamie Walker. Jamie Walker's getting a little bit closer every single lap, and they do have one more round of pit stops here to take, as we have seen, and we do know that these guys do almost every single one of them has to come down for pit stops one more time, at least all the lead lappers do, and there's a big jumbled mess around 7th place to 13th. They're all inside 10 seconds, but other than that, the only other close battle is that lead, and it's starting to get a little bit closer every lap. Jeff Ryan's in between them right now, going into turns 10 and 11. Last time Jeff Ryan was in front of Jamie Walker here in the turns 11 did not turn out so well, so hoping that does not happen again to the 17 truck, as he's going to hopefully get a better launch. But Jamie Walker's been getting really aggressive for these corners, a little bit more less fluid, a little bit more aggressive, trying to get more out of the tires as he can every lap.
Yeah, he is, and as they head through once again, Justin Michael continuing to hold that gap strong, but Jamie Walker just made up about 15 hundredths right there. A great turn 1, and Jamie Walker gaining a ton of time coming up through the S's now.
Wow, that was not what you would expect from any of these drivers, especially the two drivers up front. And it seemed that he didn't really lose that much ground, even though he did get through the grass. It may hinder his entrance into these corners, but apparently not affecting him hardly at all. It seems to really be stable, the distance between these drivers, but it is very close. Just about every single lap we're seeing just minor improvements from that 17 truck every lap, and we're seeing a lot of lap traffic in front of him, so hopefully for him I should say, Justin Michael's going to really find issue with these drivers.
Yeah, and Michael's coming through 11 right now, and still keep in mind, Coop, we're expecting to see these guys on pit road at some point here, assuming that, of course, that 17, and kind of we saw Jason Jacoby make 20 laps on pit road, or before going to pit road, rather, here. I'm losing my mind. But for the most part, I think pit stops maybe one more time for these guys before this race is done.
Yeah, I'd say most definitely. All these drivers got to come down, get full service, all tires, full fuel, and really get back out there. Look at the battle in front of these leaders here. Looks like it's going to be the 33 truck. Oh, wow! Don't come back on in front of the leaders! Oh, wow! Look at that. The 36 of Nathan Davis almost ruined what could have been between these two leaders. And that actually, look at the distance between our two leaders now. It has shrunk exponentially. And I wouldn't say there's more than 4 truck lengths between them.
Yeah, that was really close there. That closed up that gap. So now Jamie Walker once again on the back bumper of that 87 of Justin Michael. And Michael, I mean, he's been very consistent as of late. He's won a lot of races, but Jamie Walker, it's still hard to bend against Jamie Walker. He's been so consistent through this whole series. Michael just hasn't had that consistency, but we're at Watkins Glen. I mean, we're at the wild card race here, Austin. Who do you go with?
Well, if it were me, I'd say the guy up front. Honestly, he's been on such a roll, winning so many races this season. But with that said, you do have to think about how he's had the poor luck of getting through these lap traffic trucks. He's almost going to get down to the top 10, only being on the lead lap, and just seeing he's got to carve the way for both him and Jamie Walker, and he's going to stay in his wake through all of these. And it's going to be really nice for that 17 truck not to have to push these guys out of the way. You're seeing the 29 truck yield. But look, he's so close right here, and out of the carousel, if he gets a good jump, he might be able to do something. Oh, look, he's going to get the grass. And they're going to go side by side right there, and they're going to go into turn number 10 here. Who's going to have the advantage? 17 truck. Jamie Walker, he's going to get the lead here going into turn 11 for lap 36. Wow, didn't see that coming.
Done and dusted for Jamie Walker right there. And
Pits.
Justin Michael says, all right, fine, I'll just go to pit road then. So Michael's going to hit pit road, and Walker at this point is trapped out there for an extra lap.
Wow, I don't think that's a better way for Justin Michael to hand over that position. because on paper, then it just looks like he came down pit road to lose that position. But all jokes aside, it does look that since Jamie Walker did get the position, he thought to himself, well, I already had so much trouble with black traffic. I'm just going to come down now and not have to worry about it. And really, maybe I can get away from Jamie and start running my own race. Because they haven't this entire time. Maybe for the short time that he was away from him, about 3 seconds ahead of him shortly after they pitted the first time. So hopefully what he's thinking is that he can really get a lot of distance between him and Jamie through the cycle of pit stops without them actually being on pit road at the same time.
And also keep in mind here, Coop, maybe Justin Michael, maybe the reason he came down pit road was also to get out of this traffic. It hurt him so much here, he might have thought, hey, I need to click off some fast laps here. I'm going to pit now, so that way I'm out of this glob of traffic. And now Jamie Walker, yep, as I expected, he's in right now, so this is going to be the battle off of pit road to decide this thing.
Yeah, just trying to get a hold of where that number 787 truck is, and he's going down. He just completed the carousel. He's going to go into turn 10 right here. And there's going to be the big difference between those two drivers right now. Jason Jacoby in front of him. He's going to have to come down pit road as well. And he's off, I think, right now. So definitely what you want to see. Or no, he's getting his tires on right now, I should say. Sorry about that. He's getting his tires on right now as he's coming down the front straightaway. Justin Michael looks like he's going to get a huge advantage. Still taking right sides. That was the call. That was the call to make, because he's already making his way over turn 1 into the S's. He's got probably about a second and a half already on him.
So these guys are battling for third, what is right now on track. Jason Jacoby, you see him up the ways a little bit. He's heading into the inner loop right now. You see Justin Michael in the back of your picture there. Jacoby's about 2 seconds off of Maul here, and Maul had to get around a lap truck there. But we're assuming that Jacoby and Maul have to pit still. So once those guys get out of the way, this is going to be a battle between the 87, and if the 17 can get back to him, it's an awfully big gap, but we've seen Jamie Walker close up a gap like that before.
Yeah, but look at the 87. He's in the grass again. And if he continues to do that, he's only going to be... Yeah, he's going to start really... it's going to probably break his momentum, I think, is going to be the biggest thing. And you're seeing him. He's not that far. Remember the first time they came out of the pits, he was so much farther away, and now he's closer. The 1787, this is the biggest gap, or the bigger gap, the smaller gap from when they came out of pit road, and he's already catching him quite a lot since they came out of pit road. Definitely a lot better job by Jamie Walker, of course. You can't deny the fact that Justin Michael has been beat both times. However, not as bad this time. And I do believe Jamie Walker is better on the track right now.
But Jason Jacoby is still out there. And he can't. Can he? Can he go 23?
Depending on that fuel cell, I'd say he's got 5 seconds between him and the trucks too. I think even if he does try the whole way, I think the trucks behind him are going to catch him.
I would assume so, but I mean, it is Jason Jacoby we're talking about. If there's anyone who's going to just try it just for the sake of trying it, it's that one truck. So Jacoby thinks unless he's banking on coming in at the very last minute so he has the freshest tires, I think he's going to try and roll the dice here. Unless he hits pit road this time, I'm going to say that he's going to try and roll the dice here.
That means he'd have to go more than 15 laps. More than all these other drivers, which no one has been able to do or really dared to do.
20, he'd have to go 25 laps, Coop.
25 laps is right. 25 laps with 15 more than anybody hardly would ever dare to do. So that's just almost... I don't think it's even possible for that one truck to do it. They got about 15 laps to go next time, and it's just a far stretch as much as they're catching. I mean, they're catching them about a second per lap, and in about 4 laps, it's going to be them. But looking behind them, the difference between Michael and Walker is only 7/10, so that battle will shine here in a little bit.
Yeah, and Michael and Walker are going to catch him, so Jacoby may be just doing this to see how much those extra fresh tires are really going to be able to help him here, because Walker and Michael, they're catching him. There's no way Jacoby's going to be able to hold him off, let alone trying to save fuel and tires. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and you're watching Justin Michael get through, trying to get through lap traffic to the 11 cars. That's pretty much holding him up right here. He's going to take the preferred line, it looks like, through turn 11. So, no! He hit him hard. Oh, no. That's not what you want to see from the 87. Huge right side damage, and he's actually going to... Oh, look, a huge wreck behind him. 93 in turn 11. That truck's going to be done, and the 68's going to hit him as well. Lots of trucks having issues right now. That battle for the lead, provisional lead, actually now, Jacoby went down pit road. We're going to get a replay from that 93, though. That was a hard lick.
Yeah, we're going to make sure nothing happened with the lead, and we'll keep an eye on that at the top of the ticker here, but we're showing the replay on the 93, and your leaders are getting close. We'll jump to that as soon as we can, but we just watching the 93. What happened there? He just went on the outside and lost it, pounded into the tire wall there. Everything going to happen there, and as meanwhile, we're going to try and jump back to your 87. Jamie Walker just blew the outside, or the exit there of the inner loop there, and lost a ton of time to Michael.
Yeah, I'd say Justin Michael is really off of the rhythm right now, and to say the least, Jamie Walker is kind of in one of the best positions. To be second at a road course and to not be losing that much time, it's pretty substantial that you can keep your prey within your eyesight, and he can do this for the next 14 laps to stay behind him. The only time he has to get around him is in the last lap, and I'm sure he's going to be able to try and attempt it when it does come to that time, but definitely seeing this. Oh, look at the 8. Oh, that was almost disastrous. The 8 of Jeff Ryan locked it down. Definitely was about to overdrive. Yeah. Definitely about to overdrive that corner. That was almost disastrous.
And Jeff Ryan, I think, had more than his fill of Watkins, Glen. He's been off the track several different times here, been involved in a couple different instances, so Ryan just ready for this to end. But as for Jamie Walker, continuing to hunt down the leader, and he's going to get a big gift in the way of the 29 of Harmon. He's going to hold up the leader, and this battle just went from 8/10 to nothing.
Yeah, and that's happened way too many times to both of these guys. Obviously, more times to Justin Michael, but I would say that if Jamie Walker were in the same position, it happened the exact same way. It doesn't matter who's up front. It's just these drivers sometimes forget how fast these leaders are. These two drivers are the class of the field. They're 26 seconds ahead of anybody else, and they are literally the closest battle on the track. You really wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm sure if Justin Michael could have it any other way, he'd have no lap traffic, and then they'd all be down pit road. If you're a lap down, you just get out of my way. Sadly, that doesn't happen here, and it actually kind of makes it a little bit interesting for these two to see who really, once you get back up to each other, who really is going to make the mark here today at Watkins Glen.
And also keep in mind, Coop, I mean, it is etiquette to kind of let the leaders go by here, but it's not mandatory. You don't have to do it, especially if you're in a position where you're going to blow the apex of a corner or something like that, and you're in the middle of a battle and like a lap down here, and they're going to go side by side back to that point. A moment through the inner loop here, Walker's going to back up the corner. Michael throws it way inside here. Nose to tail, nothing able to come from it there, but Walker going to try and back up the corner, get the run off. And it worked for him before, just not able to go anywhere. He's trying to undercut that 87, a little bit of a nudge through the carousel. 87 off, and here they go towards 10, Coop.
Oh, man, I'm so surprised that 87 is not going to get a timing penalty, with the 17 showing the bumper on the inside. And he's there, and they're going to go side by side. Both trucks out of whack, and the 17, he's going to be completely out of it. Out of turn 10, the 17 of Jamie Walker completely loses it. He does not lose any position, but that's probably going to be the end of his campaign for the win tonight.
And the replay's up on your screen, and from what my first view of that, it looked like he just went for it there, and it just didn't work. He went to the inside of the 87. He has the line here, gets a piece of the curb. I'm trying to see what happened here. We looked, he got a piece of the curb, and I think that's all she wrote. I don't think he was able to hold on to it after that.
Yeah, look, I think he thought the 87 was going to come pinch him down, which is why he went down further, which actually wasn't the case. And once he hit that curbing, it was basically over from there. So 17, 8-second deficit, biggest deficit he's had all day. And how fast things can really change in an instant. Nothing's going to feel harder than knowing that was so close in his reach. and the fact that he's now 8 seconds back, still in second place. The fact that he's still going to probably finish in the same spot if he never executed the pass, but racing's racing, and that was, in my opinion, just really hard racing.
Yeah, no harm, no foul from any of those drivers. It wasn't a block or anything like that. Walker just went for it there, and just a slight miscalculation. That's all it took. I mean, yeah, he could have been more patient, but if he felt like he had the opportunity there, and he certainly was close to Michael there, he thought that was the point at which he needed to make that pass, and it just didn't work out. So the usually very patient Jamie Walker, uncharacteristically impatient there, and it bites him.
Yeah, I think he just realized he had a good opportunity, and once it was there, it was like, hey, I have an open door, and he made a mistake, and maybe should have waited. But I would say that it was almost like it was an open door, and he took it, and it just kind of slammed as soon as he went for it. So he's gonna have. Justin Michael's going to have something really, really bad happen to him, which none of us really want to happen to that 87. But if anybody wants to try and dethrone the 87, they're going to have to hope for something happen. Maybe he spins out on his own, has an issue. He does have that damage on the truck. I don't think it's really going to affect him. He's had to deal with a lot of adversity this race. So that 87 really still making a lot of hard charges, and without a doubt, kind of one of the more beaten bang trucks out here tonight that had nothing of his own doing. But unless that 87 truck makes a mistake, he's going to win the race because Jamie Walker is faltering still.
Yeah, Walker hasn't been able to close that gap up. It was around 9 seconds. It's already fallen to 9.5, 9.6, and I think I just don't think Walker had the pace, and he certainly doesn't have it now because that truck probably got a little bit of suspension damage, had to spend the time getting the gravel off the tires. Walker just doesn't have enough time. I mean, 9 laps to go at the line here, Coop, and this is basically done and dusted. And for Justin Michael, he could take it nice and easy with all the rest of the lap traffic here. He doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, permitting that nothing else happens, he's gonna really get a pretty good shot at this. There's nothing really in his way, like you said, and hardly any lap cars. The next lap car is Christopher Hurlow, and he's been very, very courteous on the track by giving the position away when he needs to. And then you have just a few other trucks out there. And the next truck you really would have to worry about is Aaron Bennett, who's still trying to get Tommy Ryan here. Aaron Bennett started 3rd, is back to 8th, and then Tommy Ryan's from 23rd to 7th. That penalty, we talked about it. He had a penalty for putting the wrong number sticker on, and that hurt him quite a bit. Look, I mean, that truck is bad fast. 10th and fastest in practice. He started 23rd because he was not allowed to practice, or not allowed to take a time. And for him to be in 7th is pretty remarkable. And there's a what it could have been story. Should have been, could have been story for that number 2 team.
Would have been, should have been, or never mind. We'll just throw that. We'll throw that out the window right now. But no, you're absolutely right. I mean, Tommy Ryan has been very fast and definitely came into the series a little bit late here. We saw him fast in the Ascor's SegPay Truck Series last year. He was fast in that. He's been fast in USR when he's shown up, and once again, running a limited schedule is that truck. But every time we see him in that Northern Tool and Equipment Chevrolet, he's always very fast. Just didn't work out for him.
Yeah, definitely. And he's navigating his way through some traffic, and he's actually catching Bobby Terrell right now. He's only about a second ahead of him, so 94 truck's definitely going to get a mirror of that number 2 before this one's all over with. You can see that Muscle Milk truck going through the S's about the exit here. Tommy Ryan's right behind him, and that Duke truck just has a ton of speed. He's one of the fastest truck, if not the fastest truck out there right now, actually. I do believe, yeah, that last time he was the fastest truck on track. So, LSRTV curse, why would you do that to me? But he gets off track just there for a little bit.
Of the curb. It's fine.
Yeah, that's not. We've seen worse.
That's not the LSRTV curse. The LSRTV curse is if he would have plowed into the wall. That was the curse.
Yeah, just a minor
that's
little
gonna happen.
ouchie.
That's not going to happen, obviously.
No, definitely not. We definitely didn't do that. But back to what I was saying, he's going to lose a lot of time, of course, on Bobby Terrell here this coming lap. But he's one of the fastest trucks on track right now. And if he was just, let's say he started in the 10th position where he was practicing, I'd say he'd be in the top 5, maybe top 10 shooting for a win. Or,
absolutely.
opposite.
Yeah. But I mean, you look at compare the times here. We'll bring up the graphic. He ran, well, he had the off track on that last time by, so a 15.4, so not really reflective that time, but he was faster than the leader the lap before. So, and I mean, you look at the top of the ticker there, 7.8 is the gap between Walker and Michael. It's closing, but I don't think it's going to happen today, Coop. Maybe if we lightning challenged him, gave him 5 extra laps or something like that, it might happen, but I just don't think it's possible anymore.
Yeah, if both drivers run their cleanest laps and have no issues, I mean, I think the most he could get is under 5 seconds. It's just, and who knows? Justin Michaels probably just being easy on the truck, just not to push anything. Right, exactly. Because if Jamie Walker pushes his hardest and gets every bit from the truck that he has left, which really honestly isn't a whole lot, especially since he squealed the tires or got in the gravel and really didn't help the tires at all. I mean, he's gonna get him just about every lap, I'd say. I mean, he was really fast when he was out there on the track chasing him down, but Justin Michael just doesn't have to push it. I mean, if you can go maybe like 2 tenths slower every lap or 4 tenths, it still wouldn't be enough. We're almost to the 5 to go mark here, and just lap by lap, it's just not going to be enough time. Just about a little bit over an hour now through this race. It's going to be over before we know it. Just about a few more laps to go. Just Jamie Walker. I think that was our biggest woulda, coulda, shoulda. Except for and then the number 2 is our number 2.
Yeah, exactly. And Greg Mall, that's kind of a little bit of a closing battle there, actually. The 12 and the 1 who have kind of swapped back and forth all through the race there. And we're looking to see, where's the 1? There he is. He's caught in a little bit of lap traffic as we're trying to find him. There he is. And he's actually behind a little as the gravel goes flying off the James Dunn machine in front of him. But I think Jacoby's trying to catch Greg Mall. I just don't think he has enough time either. He's in a better position than Jamie Walker is, but I mean, stuck behind this lap traffic, Jacoby's just being very safe right now. He doesn't want to push it.
Another driver who just had an issue was Bobby Terrell. He just spun out right there in the inside groove bus stop here right after the S's and lost a lot of time. Lost the position to Tommy Ryan and Aaron Bennett, so tough break for that number 94 machine. Still the last truck on the lead lap by a little bit, but not a whole lot, and he's definitely going to try and get that truck steady out there as Justin Michaels actually just going through turn 2 right now. And Jamie Walker, he is definitely chomping that lead off, and every lap I'm starting to wonder if he does have a little bit for him, but I just don't think it's there. I'll talk about it probably once every lap, and I'm sure you will too, just about how much he's tearing off on him, but I just don't think it's just not enough time. And for that number 94 to have that issue too, going back to 94, is just terrible. But also got to think about Aaron Bennett. This is, I think, the closest battle we have on track right now between these guys. Are just about a second apart, and it's starting to get a little bit closer every lap. Looks like Aaron Bennett started to actually thrive here in the later parts of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jamie Walker, I mean, he's closing in here. I just don't think he's going to have much of a truck left to battle with Michael here. So, I mean, it's one thing if he catches him, but I just don't think Walker will have much of a truck left to battle with him. We'd need to see a mistake out of the 87 if anything was going to happen with that lead, in my opinion. But Tommy Ryan right now, we look back from him at Aaron Bennett now, and as they head up through the S's, we take a look back at that gap here, and Tommy Ryan comes through there onto the back straightaway, as it were. And yeah, that Tommy Ryan just slowly opening up that gap bit by bit.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me if that number 2 truck realized that the 3's behind him starting to catch him, and he's like, might as well put those little rocket boosters that I had earlier on in the race on once again and start going. Of course, once you have a competitor start to get a lot closer, you start to realize, I can probably get a little bit away with this in the corner. Haven't really been going through the corner with this much speed or exiting it like this way. Once you're starting to get a groove at a road course, you can almost start to really lose time, not just because of your tires, but just because of the fact that there's no one around you to really compete with. Oh wow, look at the 3 truck just really hit the outside tire barrier right there out of turn 11. Not really looks like it's gonna hit that truck too hard, but definitely definitely not what you want to see if you're the number 3 truck. But it looks like actually it's still pretty good out there going through turn 11.
Yeah, a little bit of a bounce off the tire wall, but not too bad for Aaron Bennett. So Aaron Bennett trying to catch up the 2. He was able to gain a little bit of time there, but once again, just not going to have a whole lot of time left to do anything. And we look back right now at the 17. Daily check-in on the 17. You can see the gravel flying off the truck there. You can see he's been offline a little bit. 3 laps to go, more like 2 2/3 or so. He just doesn't have enough time, Coop.
Yeah, he's got to get in the 2.5 laps that's there to go. He's got to get 2 seconds per lap, basically, and that's just to get to him and then to challenge him. It's just too far, too long. It's just not going to happen. Just to say that the analogies today, Cisco, are just not there with either of us. We've tried time and time again, and I think Justin Michaels just really got to make a big mistake. And he doesn't have hardly any lap cars. Even if he catches Bobby Terrell and just stops and just sits behind him, I don't think he's going to have an issue. He's just that far ahead. He's going to get the 2 popsicle sticks in the air when he comes across the start-finish line this time by, and he'll get 1 to go the time after. It's almost a set and done deal here for the number 87. He's probably going to win another one on the season. 2 laps to go.
And that's crazy. I mean, he has 6 wins this season, Coop, and he could grab another one here at Watkins Glen tonight. And when you consider this points battle that he's in with Jamie Walker, once again, not a whole lot's going to change because Jamie Walker's second again. And Jamie Walker must be getting tired of finishing second. He can't make up any points on Justin Michael like this.
No, and it's just like they talked. I mean, this would be the same finishing order for 1-2 as it was last week. And I don't know if I can ask them the same questions because I'm sure they're just going to give you the same answers because they're so close in points. I mean, they're so close in points. They're so close on the track. They're basically just dominating this entire series, the 2 of them. And then, of course, Greg Mall's up there too. Jacoby's starting to make some really big hits, even though he's not really in that championship picture. Definitely came into the season late and is starting to really show that he could do it next year, or next season, I should say. But this points battle just keeps getting closer and closer every time that the 87 is out there, the 17 is out there. We're going to have 1 more lap around this Watkins Glen Speedway Cup style, of course, and it's going to go through turn 1. And unless anyone has a huge issue, looks like we had a blown motor in front of them, actually. That looks like maybe the 30. Actually, it doesn't look like any of them have a blown motor. I heard one. I didn't see one. But 87 really doesn't have any problems in front of him right now.
Nope, up through the S's for the final time for Justin Michael. Here he comes out of the S's, down the back straightaway, and they're going to head for the inner loop out of 4. And Justin Michael, everything looking good so far, but a little bit of a bunch in front of him here. He has to make sure that gap is down to 2 seconds now. So if something does happen in front of Michael, Walker may have 1 shot at it, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time out of the carousel this time, and that group has spread out in front of him. Michael can't cruise yet, but he's getting pretty close. He'd have to obliterate him through the last next corners, and by that I mean just absolutely 100% throttle him, which I don't think Jamie Walker is a driver that would ever do that. Although we've seen drivers do crazier things in the Sim Series. But as he rounds out turn number 11, give him his 7th win of the season. Most decorated by far, now over half. Justin Michael, number 7 on the season, and only 1 second in front of Jamie Walker. That 87 is he's gonna relish this one, and he's already gonna burn it down before even the 3rd driver comes across the start-finish line. Yeah, that's how big of a gap these guys had. Look, he's doing donuts. There is Greg Mall, and he's going to hit the line now. Jacoby wasn't able to do anything with him. That's Justin Michael's already celebrating, and Jacoby just crossed the line.
Yeah, that's an incredible feat by both these drivers to get. And I mean, they just absolutely dominated this race. And of course, you could say if Jamie Walker didn't have that issue, they would have had probably a good battle. It was a good battle at the time too. And as these drivers do their cool down lap, we'll also take a quick break and we'll catch all these drivers, or the top 3 drivers, on the other side of things. You're watching LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
was interesting this morning to come out here and get on the track and look closely at how rubber was starting to kind of take to the track, you know, where there were ruts and spots that looked still like dirt, and other spots were super shiny and had a bluish tint.
We scanned this track twice because we needed to be able to measure the differences between the track before it's raced and after it's raced. With dirt track racing, the dynamics of the track change dramatically once it's raced on throughout the race. And by scanning it beforehand, we were able to gain a baseline that we're now able to compare with the scan from after the race. Take a look at the cushion, see where it's built up, see how deep it is, and try to figure out some of these variables that we'll have to account for when we create our digital representations of dirt racing and dirt tracks. Our associate producer, Kevin Einarelli, was actually quite the soldier, and he stayed here all night scanning so that we could get this second scan, because in the morning after the race, they ripped the track up. So the window that we have to collect that data is very limited. So thanks, Kevin. So we had a similar approach with the photography of this track that we had with the laser scan. We photographed it twice. So we were able to get in here right before the race started, right after all the trucks had finished running the track in, and take reference photography of the track. And then we returned today and took another set of reference photography. And we took photos of all the various elements that we need to account for: the cushion, the groove, the areas of the groove that have received rubber, and the apron. And we have a specific technique that we use to take these shots. We are using something called photogrammetry. What photogrammetry is essentially the science or a method which will allow us to take photographs and extract three-dimensionality from them using common elements between the photographs. And it's a great technique to create textures for our racing sim, and it's something we've been doing for a while, but it's especially helpful with dirt because of the three-dimensional characteristics of the dirt and the way it collects. So it's a really good technique, and it should result in a great looking racetrack.
A lot of what I'm seeing kind of confirms what we already believed and already knew and have already started working on. So, you know, my plan is to get together with Dave Kamer and get in detail about what's going on between the tire and the road, because the ruts seem to be a significant piece of the puzzle, where the rubber shows up on top of the rut. So getting the tire grip correct on a track that has as much variation as a dirt track does is going to be key.
We know that every racetrack, every dirt racetrack is unique. Different soil compositions, different color, different types of grooves develop depending on the different types of cars. So this process that we've gone through this weekend is not going to be a one-off thing. We're going to do it again, increase our knowledge, and we'll take that knowledge home with us, and it will help us create a better version of these tracks in iRacing.
Welcome back to Watkins Glen International here, where we just had a thrilling ride actually through the S's and all through these corners here, through the cup style configuration here, as Justin Michael yet again wins another race and top it off. It's number 7. He's almost gone half. If he wins the rest of the races here, Cisco, he'll actually win half the races of the season, but let's not relish on that. Let's go through our full-filled rundown. Justin Michael wins the race yet again. Jamie Walker again finishes in the second position. Greg Mall again finishes third with Jason Jacoby. He finishes in fourth. Mark McCreary, fifth. Tommy Ryan finishes in the sixth position. Biggest mover all day. Aaron Bennett finishes seventh. Bob Butera, last car on the lead lap. He finishes eighth. Keith Butt finishes ninth. And James Nunn, he finishes in that 10th position.
11's going to go to Michael Waters in the 55. The 68 is Scott Simley's going to finish 12th. 36 of Nathan Davis is going to finish 13th. 14th going to go to Tristan Beats in the 99. 15th going to go to Justin Kleber in the 93. 16th will go to Kyle Gabot in the 5. 17th going to go to Dwayne Dunn in the 39. 18th to Chris Hurlow in the 14. 19th is going to go to Shane Author in the 11. And 20th will go to Randy Yoakum.
Randy Barber, he will finish in the 21st position with Steve Herring behind him in the 98, finishing 22nd. This is Trevor Harmon. He finishes in 23rd. Jeff Ryan finishes 24th. Michael Waite, he'll finish in the 25th position with Robert Gillenwater. He finishes 26th. Bobby Wetzel finishes 27th. Louis Robinette finishes 28th, Cody Gibson 29th, and Michael Priester, he'll finish out your 30-car field in 30th. And then we're going to go to Justin Michael once again. Wins his 7th race of the season. Justin, we talked about before the race how we expected someone different to win this race, and we actually were caught by surprise, and maybe not so much by surprise by you winning another race. This is your 3rd in a row, actually. Talk to us about the race.
I tell you, you're not the only one that was expecting somebody else to win the race. But I want to hear the words. I want to hear you say these words, the 87 wins at a road course, because I never thought it would happen. But it was
87 wins at a road course. You heard it from me first.
It was definitely a good race, and the CMX Express Tundra definitely ran good tonight. Had some issues with some lap cars. We had some damage, and I know we didn't get into Jamie, but it looks like he nipped the curb a little bit or something and spun there on the next to the last corner, and we got like a 10-second leader, and I just backed it down about 4 notches because I didn't want to go off track. I didn't want to hit anybody. I didn't want to hit anything. So, definitely he was catching us, but I was running probably about 75-80% last 10 laps easily.
Yeah, we half expected you to do that once you got that big of a lead, not to rush yourself into anything, not to break the car down in any sort of way. It seemed like you were getting beat and just busted every time you try to get around a lap car. How problemsome was this in these trucks? We see them occasionally in the cup cars, but it seems like you're able to navigate them more. With as big as the truck you have, how difficult was it to really get around these lap cars today?
Some were easy to get around. Some were proven more difficult to get around, and but I definitely thank the guys who got out of the way, didn't really put anybody in any circumstances where they could wreck or anything. We got actually quite a bit of damage there twice. And actually once on one side, once on the other side of the truck, and it definitely was hurting us, especially really deep into the run because I couldn't get any speed off the turns, and Jamie was definitely faster on the long runs, and I know I had to throw a couple blocks on him, so hopefully he's not too mad about that.
Well, you do finish first today, and of course, like always, we'll give you a chance to tell us who makes it happen for you in that number 87 machine.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to thank the Fastlane Motor Group, a good bunch of guys over there. They help each other out a lot. Thank Todd over at CMX Express. If he's looking for a job or anything, definitely out. And thank you guys for putting on a good show, and all the people in your chat room they seem happy that I won. So.
Well, I'd be saying that you were the one putting on the show, but we'll thank you for your kind words, and congratulations on your win.
Thanks, guys.
There you have it. First place finisher yet again, Justin Michael, and we'll give it down to pit road with Cisco Scarmuzza, who's caught up with the number 17 truck.
Yeah, I've caught up with Jamie Walker in the 17 truck, and Jamie, you were so close. You went into turn 10 there. Left side of the curb, what happened?
I seen an opening, had to try for it, and it just didn't work out for me. I was able to lose it there coming out of, I think it's turn 10 there. I just lost it there.
Yeah, and just a tough break for you. But the good news is you finished second, so I think you'll still somehow maintain the points lead. You've been putting up just great, consistent finishes week after week after week. And it's really been helping you in this points battle be able to maintain that point lead. How important is that for you as we head towards the chase, which is not very far off?
Truthfully, I'm not worried about the chase or the points right now. I'm just out there having fun, not worrying about anything else, just doing what I need to do to, stay consistent. That's all I can do right now.
Well, nonetheless, Jamie, congratulations on the run so far. We head to Bristol next week. What's the game plan for you there?
Somehow figure out a way to pass that 87. He's had my number the last few weeks now, and it's getting on your last nerve. It's like, just one more spot. He's always right there. But I can't complain though. The CMX Toyota Tundras, both of us. I mean, we ran pretty good the last 3 races. Now it's been us two. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Well, Jamie, sponsor shout-outs. Who gets it done for you in that 17 team?
Like I just said, the CMX Express team, and then Sim Seats, I also got them on there for a while. So just everybody over at USR, and of course you guys do an awesome job up there in the booth.
All right, well, that's Jamie Walker. He finished second here, and I'll pass the mic back to Austin Coop. And Austin's caught up with our third-place driver here, Greg Mull.
Yeah, Greg, you're third in the points, finished third, so not really a huge gain today on points, but it does kind of solidify your third-place finish with Seth Vowdy not even showing up to race today. So for you guys, it's a pretty good solidification for third place in the points as we go into Bristol next week. Tell us about how the race went for you. You kind of got a few positions here, and maybe it felt to you that you weren't really doing much out there, but we weren't always focused on that 12 truck. Tell us how it was.
Yeah, it was an interesting race. I think me and Jason Jacoby were battling for most part of the race there ever since the green flag wove pretty much from the start. But yeah, it was pretty much just trying to keep the truck under us and trying to get through the bus stop, especially unscathed. And overall, I'd say it was a pretty decent night. And yeah, I think the point situation, I think we're sitting pretty comfortably right now. So it's reassuring, especially if walking into Bristol next week and not having too much pressure in terms of trying to make up any points over there. So overall, it wasn't a bad night.
Yeah, now I was talking about next week. That'll be an interesting race for you guys. First off, how's your Bristol program there? And second, if you're in the right spot and you find those two up front, the 17 and 87 getting each other, you might have a chance. Let's say they wreck out and completely get last place. You're going to be in a good position in the points.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing with Bristol is that, it's the only sure thing is that there's no such thing as a sure thing. So, it's just going to try and stay out of trouble. And I don't know if I'd say my Bristol program's the best when it comes to going up against these guys by any means. But, we just want to stay out of trouble as much as we can and just try and stay off the wall as much as we can over there. I know how much those walls can really just reach up and grab you if you're not careful. So,
well, thank you for your time, and we do want to give you a chance to give out those shout-outs that you're probably waiting to give out.
Well, absolutely. Of course, I want to thank the teammates of Young Guns. So Jamie gave Justin all he had there late in the run. I know that he had a chance and just wasn't meant to be, I guess. But he was definitely in a position there at the end. So I got to give him credit for that. And Aaron had a pretty good rebound tonight. I think the pit strategy didn't quite fall his way, but was able to recover halfway decently, I'd say. And of course, got to thank all the friends and family back home that are watching and all their support as well. And of course, got to thank you guys as up in the booth doing a great job as always. So.
Well, there you have it. Greg Mull finishes third place, quite content, but knows there is a little bit more on the line. We thank you, Greg, for giving us a little bit of your time.
Yep, thanks, Coop. Thanks, guys.
Cisco, this was kind of an up and down day for some drivers, but once again, the number 87 puts another one on the board. And how many more do you think he's going to get this season? I mean, he's already got 7. He's on 3 in a row. He's on a hot streak right now. It doesn't matter where he goes. He's absolutely dominating. And like I said, if he wins a few more, he'll literally win half the races of the regular season.
But the one thing that he can't bank on is the 3 next races are going to be very, very different. We go to the Coliseum next week in Bristol. The race after that, we go to the track Too Tough to Tame in Darlington. And then we finish at the fastest mile in Virginia at Richmond. Coop, 3 very different tracks, 3 very tricky tracks, and also 3 tracks very hard to dodge accidents at. So I still think this is pretty open. I mean, it's going to be a battle, certainly, between Justin Michael and Jamie Walker, but this battle to the finish before the chase starts, and that starts in the conclusion, in Richmond. So it's coming down to the end of this. These guys need to get a move on if they need to get in this chase.
Yeah, for those guys outside of the chase, they need to figure out a way to get in. For those guys at the top, they want to get a little higher and maybe get a little bit extra bragging rights, yes, what we would say. Of course, you and me have our own bragging rights that we chip from time to time. But these guys know that there's a little bit of pride on the line to get the number one position at the end of the regular season. But as we come to a close, we definitely want to let everybody know of our regular weekly schedule. Here on Mondays, we have the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series going to Phoenix this week. We have Super Speedway Cup next Friday, and then of course, as always, every week here on Saturdays, we'll have the BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series here at 10 Eastern. Here, and it'll be at Bristol next week, so it'll be quite fun to watch these trucks beat and bang around the last great Coliseum here. Also want to give a big shout out to BNC Lawn and Landscaping for the premier sponsorship of the series, and Joel Real Timing for the coverage of the United Sim Racing BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series. So from all of us here at LSRTV, Evan, Andy, Laura, myself, Austin Cube, Cisco Scarmuza, and everyone behind the scenes, we want to thank you for joining us tonight here at Watkins Glen. We want to wish you a good night.